All right, today we are going to talk about going break even. Today it was Wednesday, January 21st, and it's currently 9:53. And yeah, just going to talk about the trading day. So, coming into market open, we didn't have a whole lot in the 4 hour, and overall, the 4 hour was looking like we were kind of rejecting off of these lows right here. We also had this 4 hour gap. We did not have that 4 hour gap on NASDAQ though. So we just, yeah, really not a whole lot on the 4 hour other than possible just rejecting off of these lows. And then if we look at the hourly, we can see that we have hourly gap here, obviously 4 hour gap here, and then hourly gap all the way up here. I wasn't really marking this one until later when we started going way bullish. But I'll kind of just talk about everything as it went on. But yeah, hourly fair value gap here and hourly fair value gap here. So coming in the market open, oh sorry, hold on, 15-minute as well. This is kind of what price is looking like. I guess you could say a little bit of consolidation, manipulation, and then possible extension. But overall, that is usually a pretty big, move to have, is to have all of Asian session being consolidation and then London session being manipulation. But now looking at it, it does make sense that it would play out more. And then really all we had on the 15-minute was this fair value gap here, and this was going to be kind of my condition for the day. It was on both indexes, and overall I didn't have a super duper strong bias, just because this is an hourly candle. It was like right here-ish when market open, kind of where this 15-minute one is. So it was looking like we definitely could be just filling in this gap, this 4 hour gap, and then the hourly gap as well. But we did have pretty strong conviction that we were going to inverse this. So overall, my bias is kind of, definitely more leaning towards bullish, but I kind of wanted to see what we were going to do with this 15-minute gap. And then, yeah, that would ended up being my deciding factor for what we were going to be on the day and kind of what we were going to look for. So, yeah, honestly, more looking at it, though, definitely some consolidation, manipulation, and then extension. So, yeah, that's awesome. Definitely didn't see that, so it's good to look back and see that. I guess I'm just usually looking for lower time frames. So, yeah, let's get into the day. So, coming into market open, this up move was mainly caused by Trump speaking. He was speaking at 7:30, just saying a whole lot of good stuff, and that was kind of this move. So automatically, I was definitely leaning a little bit more towards bullish because of how clean and decent price action looking this move was. And then came down, filled in this gap on NASDAQ. We did not on ES, but not something you can complain about, because NASDAQ did it and ES didn't. And clearly, if NASDAQ's doing this, ES is going to follow. But yeah, after that, we basically come up here and we just start ripping. We just started going up. And the thing is I super wanted to have possibly taken a trade, in this range, like have it take profit in this range, and I would have probably taken that trade if there was. But there were no low or no highs in between here and here. There really weren't. I mean, there were these internal highs, and that would have been pretty much the only thing that we could have targeted, or we could have possibly targeted this fair value gap. But I didn't want to do that because that's just not something that I think is good practice. But yeah, really the only highs that we had up here were these relative equal highs on NASDAQ, and then these previous day highs on ES. And then for lows for the day, we had London lows and London lows on NASDAQ as well. But yeah, coming into market open, the hourly candle closed right about here. So if you look on NASDAQ and ES, we inverse this 4 hour gap and we inverse this gap. And then on NASDAQ, we inverse this gap and inverse this gap. And then if you also look at the 5-minute, I mean, we're just extremely bullish. So this is really what I saw, and this is exactly what I wanted to see. if we were going to take out these highs. And basically, super good hourly close that kind of just double reinforces our buys for the day. And then we have this candle, or sorry, this fair value gap here, this 5-minute gap that I wanted to get filled. So if we look on, and this was also on ES as well, same fair value gap, and we filled it on both indexes. And then NASDAQ, we ended up coming out of it getting good candles, good rejection candles. And then this is where we broke structure right here. I just had like a order. I did take this on TradingView paper trading, and that's because like for some reason my trade locker was being goofy. I had to like re-sign into it, and I couldn't do that fast enough, so I just did it on here. But yeah, the reason why I took this trade, basically, overall bias for the day is bullish. We came in, filled in this 15-minute gap, giving us more bullish confluence. And then when we inverse this hourly gap, these hourly gaps, that kind of confirmed our drawn liquidity. And then also, not the 15-minute, but if you look at the 5-minute, clearly we want to be bullish for the day, and we have not swept out any lows yet. So once we got to, about here-ish, I just wanted a retracement. That's exactly what we got. And then we got a break of structure out of it. And, you couldn't ask for much of a better setup than that. And I ended up just taking that trade. I went break even when we had this displacement. I definitely could have not done that, and I think I'll probably do that in the future, because I think that prevented me from having a win today. But we ended up just going break even at this liquidity sweep. So yeah, overall great day. Super happy with my bias overall. That was correct, and I think I executed very well, and I was controlled about it too, and I'm very happy about that. But yeah, overall NASDAQ was the leading index coming up into these highs. Kind of saw that just based on the retracement. The retracement on NASDAQ looked a little better, and usually NASDAQ moves better. So that's kind of why I chose to take it on NASDAQ instead of ES. But yeah, it was a little bit of a different day because this is a crazy extension. I mean, this is like almost 1.5% that we moved today in the last hour, 2 hours. It's crazy. But yeah, overall super content with today. I'm excited to see what the rest of the week brings. But yeah, I'm saying this is a good day because we executed exactly how we should be. We just got an unfortunate break even. But yeah.